Hello, I'm Solbert, I'm the computer voice of Seoul, Texas company. In traditional routing, the route that the traffic will follow is obtained based solely on its destination. Sometimes this is not enough and we want to select one route or another depending on other factors such as source address, firewall marks, traffic type, protocols, access list, packet size, or other criteria. In these cases we will use advanced routing. From FWCloud-UI we can visually create and manage user-defined routes and also the rules used to select the traffic for these routes. In this video we are going to show how you can create, modify and install a routing policy using the drag and drop features of FWCloud-UI. For this demo, imagine we have the networks showed in this drawing. We have two internet connections with different speeds and latencies from two providers. We want the traffic to internet coming from section 1 goes through the router of provider A. But the traffic coming from section 2 and server's farm goes out through the other provider. We need to create custom tables where to place the routes for our destinations, and policy rules to tell the system in which table look for the appropriate path route depending on the source address or other features of the traffic. The rules make reference to a table, so we can now create routing rules since we have created the routing tables. To create a table we go to Routing, Tables and select New Table. Every table requires a number which will be the identifier of the table. We can use for our custom tables a number between 1 and 250. Also it requires a name. We can also use the already defined by the system, main table. We are going to create a table for the traffic of the provider A. We select the ID for the new table and give it a name. Now that we have the first table we can add routes into it. All the routes need a gateway, that is the IP address of the next hop device. We cannot delete it, since this field is mandatory, but we can replace it by any other IP object using drag and drop. If we do not add any object in the from field, we are defining a default route. But we can specify a particular destination for this route. Here we can place more than one object, like IP addresses, networks, IP ranges, hosts, groups, VPN connections, and even VPN prefixes. We can use any of the features of the FWCloud-UI to define our routing table, and make it more clear and readable, like copy and paste. Moving. Changing the color. Disabling and enabling. And creating groups to contain some of the routes. In a similar way, we need to create another routing table for the provider B. And add the proper route into it. Now that we have populated the routing tables, we are going to create the associated rules. When creating a rule, we need to select the target table, and add an IP object for the from field. In our example, we need a rule that tells the system that if the traffic comes from the network of the section 1, then use provider A table. We cannot leave the from field empty, so we cannot delete the last object in it. But we can put more than one object, and delete any of them. Here we can use networks, IP addresses, IP ranges, hosts, firewall marks, VPN connections and VPN prefixes. We need another rule. We can use again the FWCloud-UI features, like copy and paste, disable and enable, create new rules and delete, change their color, create groups for them, and reveal how it will be translated when compiling. Since we have all we need, we can proceed with the installation of the policy. Let's see from a router terminal these routes and rules. Now we are going to show another example. This time we want specifically that all web traffic from all our networks goes through the provide array. First we create a rule for marking this traffic. And now in the routing rules we use the mark to send the traffic to the suitable routing table, that is the table 1 that is assigned to provide array. This has been all in this video about managing routing with FWCloud-UI. Please stay tuned to learn more new features about FWCloud-UI.